Ready? Woo, woo, woo. 2 thumbs up. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Pause, Rewind, Play podcast. We're here in Vince's basement this week. 1, cool basement.
Thank you.
2, butt couch.
Butt couch is here.
Butt couch is here. 3, Kate is calling in.
Welcome, Kate. Welcome to the podcast. If you look awkwardly towards the camera, it's because you're sitting right underneath it. So
yeah.
I will say, actually, on that video, like on the subject of the video, I watched the video on Spotify when I listened this week. Nice touch. I liked it.
Thank you.
It was cool.
Thank you.
Good job, Vince.
We changed up the location a little bit this week because we're trying to figure out the details on how we want to do this. I am going to miss the giant TV backdrop. Like that was... We got this weird empty space here. We got to figure out how to fill out. I'm thinking, and I last minute put up these posters as like we have to have something back there. And it kind of works well with the brown of the fireplace. But I'm thinking throw up some bookshelves in the corners there. Maybe do them at kind of an angle so it rounds out the room a little bit. And then just put a bunch of nerd stuff on the
So I was going to say, I've got stuff that I would, if we're going to be doing it regularly, I would bring my little, Troy and Abed in the morning.
Heck yeah.
What
Nice
are
sweater,
they?
by the way.
The little. Oh yes, thank you. Got the Greendale Community College sweater. Those little like figurines, with the big eyes.
Funkos,
yeah.
Oh,
I've got like
yeah.
the Troy and Abed Funko Pop. I've got one of Jordan Peele. Put all this stuff up.
Yeah,
all the nerds.
Find a spot for.
You have one of Jordan Peele too?
Yes, Jaleesa got it for me for my birthday this year, I think. I haven't had it for too long. I left this one in the little case because apparently that's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to do that.
The Troy and Abed ones are long gone.
That's a thing?
Yeah, you leave them in the case. Helps it retain its value.
I am proud to say I don't own
item.
a single Funko Pop.
And for the people who do like collect them, then it's like you can stack them all.
Yeah,
right?
they're intense.
I'm also embarrassed to say I have too many amiibos to count, which is the even nerdier version.
That's all right. I won't judge you too hard.
Okay, do you have a nerdy collector's item that everyone...
I don't have like a genuine collection item, but I've got a few things. Like here up in the corner is Bold and Brash from SpongeBob. If you've seen that. So I've got that artwork up there and just a couple other like little bits and bobs. Nothing like a collect or anything.
Well, Cade did tell me this week that for Christmas, his wife got him some plants to grow at his desk. Some very special plants.
Heck yeah.
Like mint and basil and stuff like that.
A large bag of green
exactly.
paprika? Green paprika?
Yeah.
I was like, you moved to Texas, right? Not Colorado?
I've got some mushrooms that are going to help my workload just so much. No, I've got this little just like desk growing kit, mint and basil and oregano, legit oregano. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes.
I feel like
it's a cool little thing.
I feel like that's so dope. I was talking to him about this the other day. Just like you want to go make like a mojito or something like that, and you just go pick some fresh mint off your freaking desk, or just making whatever, and you just
it's very exciting.
That's crazy.
I tried to do a desk plant, and I suck at plants. So I was like, oh, what's cool? I'll get a bonsai tree. Turns out bonsai trees are like the hardest plant to keep alive out of any plants. That died very quickly. Waste of $100. Jeez. I'll move to mint.
Mint is next.
Mint is a weed, and it can live through practically anything.
And it smells incredible.
It does.
True.
I would bathe in mint if it didn't give me hives or rashes or bugs. I don't know.
Have you tried it?
No.
Maybe it won't.
It's just a
I'm sure
thought.
there's some sort of mint shampoo or something.
A mint bath bomb.
I like
Some
menthol.
lotion?
Everything should be menthol, I think. Like
Just smoke some cigarettes.
There you go.
I got some menthol cough drops right here.
What's that smell like? Let me smell.
You want to smoke
Smells
it?
like old cardboard.
No, literally.
gotta
If
open
I were a smoker, which I don't smoke, but I would smoke menthols. I don't even care if they're a woman's cigarette, according to all the old school news stuff. Like, I'm here for it. Old school advertising, Mad Men. Oh, menthol, women's cigarettes. I'm like, nope, I don't even care. They're great. I've smoked exactly 3 cigarettes in my life, and 2 of them were menthols.
There you go.
They tasted terrible, each one of them. But no, I guess it's just one of those weird things. Also,
I just shake my head and like, okay, because I don't know the first thing about a cigarette.
yeah, they're all terrible.
I'm pretty naive.
Yeah, for those of you who smoke, good for you. I just think they taste awful. But yeah, we're here to chat about a movie though. But I'm excited we have a guest. It's been a while since we had a guest on the podcast, so thanks, Cade.
When was the last time you came on?
Yeah, he came on a while ago. It was like 2020.
What was the movie?
Yeah, it was 2020. We did Iron Giant.
That's right.
I didn't. I think that one, like Josh and I also called in at some point.
Yeah,
like from his apartment.
Because that was during
Yeah.
So I think we were all doing
You
it.
came in though into my house one time, right, when we were recording there.
Yeah, we did Joker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes! Holy cow!
We've
We
had-
have been doing this a while,
Yeah.
haven't we?
We've been doing this since 2019.
Every time
Off
you
and
say
on.
that, I'm just like, oh man, it doesn't seem like that long. And then we're like, oh yeah, we did Joker with Cade at Casey's house that he doesn't even have anymore. Like
3
that.
years ago. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that I've sold and
Exactly.
since lived in a trailer. Now I'm renting a basement and expecting a child.
I'm just like, yeah, okay,
I know.
it's been a while.
I heard about that, dude. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Having a baby soon. Not going to give any other details because I don't want anyone to know. But yeah, people can know.
Is it
It's
a human
It's
baby?
a ride.
It's actually not a human baby.
Okay.
It's
Sorry, I've already
it's a gremlin
Said too
baby.
said too much.
It comes in from space. Actually, I watched Megamind today. I want that blue baby.
Well, speaking of, we'll just do a super quick what you've been watching. What else you been watching other than Megamind, Casey?
I watched Avatar: Way of Water.
Have you guys
Yeah,
seen
you-
Avatar? I watched Avatar.
It's made $1 billion at the box office. Yeah. Actually, guys, I want to defend Avatar.
That's what we need because the people on the internet are pissed at us.
They
Really?
hate us for not like
No,
loving on
I mean,
Avatar.
the one comment that we got.
All right,
on
I
the-
think we
on
got
the
to keep
clip.
it kind of still spoiler free though. I don't. Kate, have you seen Avatar yet?
I'm
I have not seen Smurfs 2. No.
not gonna give you spoilers, but totally, Way of Water was one of the most beautiful films I've seen in the theater in a long time. Like, super honest, long runtime. There were times I felt like it was long, but I understand why it needed to be long. It's building the story in the world, and just to give perspective for everyone out there, you still have all the core characters that you had in the first film, but then there's some new characters which you're getting told the story of the planet through. That's not giving you spoilers, not telling you anything crazy, but it makes sense. Like, I enjoyed it. Also, the water animals and monsters in this, awesome. Like, I should probably do like the awesome, but it's more or less just like, I loved it.
I liked the people in this one more than I liked the jungle people.
Well,
their design with the like cool fins on them and stuff.
Yeah.
and their culture, having that like island culture, was freaking rad.
A wider tail, like that was interesting. Like, sorry, this will give a little bit off, I guess, but like the people, they go to a different type of Na'vi, right? Like, and it's super cool, and they're like different. They have a different culture, and like being from the west of the United States, like where we experience a little bit of the island culture, and so maybe it resounded for us better than for other people in a way because we've been around people who are from Polynesia and stuff like that, and that's where he drew a lot of the comparisons from, right? And from Oceania and stuff like that. But I loved it. I like literally would go see it again, Vince. I would go. Like, we went and watched it in 3D in at the Megaplex.
So did the 3D hold up pretty well?
Oh, the 3D was great. And I'm not even a huge fan of 3D. I loved it.
Was that
Dude,
real?
Yeah, I'm
in
being
the last
serious.
episode, when you were talking about 3D with like the Spy Kids 3D where it was like blue and red,
Yeah.
100%, I did that. But it was so like weird to watch it in this like weird purple color because you've got the two different. So I do like newer 3D.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about once things settle down. Like, it's still, I looked on Tuesday because that's cheap night at this Megaplex here. It's still sold out showings.
Jeez.
At least that like 7 o'clock-ish show, like showtime, it's literally to the front row full on those cheap nights.
With that 3 hour and 10-minute runtime, 7 o'clock film is about the latest you want to go. Hold on here. Did you say Smurfs too, Cade? Like, as in like the little blue people Smurfs?
Yes.
That's what
no, I did.
Don't shame Smurfs like that. Don't shame Smurfs like that.
Isn't it shaming though? He's talking. If you liked that movie, then it's a good thing, right?
But he's like comparing a masterpiece against a masterpiece here.
So that's both good, right?
Is it though?
If you're comparing
Most
a
people
bad
are
thing-
shatting on Avatar, and you're over here like shatting on Smurfs. Also, I recently watched Trolls, the sing along Trolls kids movie. Dude, that just show is dark. I'll never be happy unless I eat a troll.
I don't know
I
anything
haven't
about this.
Nothing. What about Cade,
I got you.
have a child.
I got you.
Yeah, you know.
I've seen that movie.
It's got Anna Kendrick, Justin Timberlake.
I've seen too many kids movies to count. Yes, I have. But no, I don't. I was telling Josh, I'll see Avatar, but I'm not like hurrying to see it. Like you guys said, a lot of the showtimes right now are still showed out, even down here. And so I'm gonna go with when I can take my little one and it's a little bit more like open, and it's not something that I'm gonna have to like deal with a lot of other people with. But yeah, no, I don't know. The first one, I don't really remember what happens very much, other than the entire concept of like the Avatar. So yeah, I don't know. I'm walking, not running, to see the second one.
I get that.
I don't blame you for it because I was doing the same. My friend took me. Shout out to Paul. He took me, and it was very nice of him to take me. And it was like a little man date. It was nice.
Cute.
Yeah.
Man date. I always think about two men on a date.
It's a mate.
You watching Community, haven't you?
The Office, actually.
Oh, is that The Office? Oh.
Yep.
I actually watched Emancipation with Will Smith, the movie that he did right after King Richard, right? Like I think in between the slap. So I watched that, and it was really interesting. Actually, it's very artsy. Like the entire movie is in black and white except for green. Like they show green everywhere, but otherwise everything else is in black and white. So it's very artsy. You can tell that they're really trying to like boost for the award season, but he does really well. It's a really hard watch just because, I mean, true events that happened to slaves. But I did like it. It was a good movie.
So I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm doing the walking, not running to it because I'm having a hard time with Will Smith post-slap, to be honest with you guys. Internet, hate on me if you want, but I am. But I did watch a video on the web about like the photo that kind of inspired the scarring on his back and stuff like that, where he's talking about it. And I was like, that's a very impressive thing to sit down and be like, to have be like this harsh reality, which, so many of us try to shut and hide, to put it in the front of something so big and epic, like the brutality behind all of it. And it's like, good for them. And so I would like to see it, but I'm also like you, walking, not running to see this because I'm having some weird feelings about Will Smith. So that's it. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I love a good artsy film.
And I definitely had like my reservations with it too, and so that's why I was like, I'll get through all the Christmas movies first, and then like when I get around to it. But more than anything, I think I was more curious about the story than Will Smith itself, and so that's why I got around to it.
See, you can separate the artist and the art.
I tried.
From the art. That's the way I say it.
Yeah, I was trying.
Well, I've been watching a few things. A couple days before Christmas, Kate and I fought through a million layers of Jeff Bezos security to try and FaceTime and like watch a movie that was available for rent, and you just can't do it. You
can't beat him.
You both have to rent it. We tried a million different things.
Jeff Bezos. He beat us. We couldn't beat the final boss.
Jeff got us, man. What can I say? So we both ended up renting and watching Violent Night.
Oh,
a
nice.
couple days before Christmas.
That's on POD. What is that? What it's called?
What?
Paid on demand. Whatever.
It was just on Prime.
I got there eventually.
PPV, pay per view.
Yeah, we rented it on Prime.
Okay, cool.
And so yeah, it's like still expensive renting, which is why we were trying to just do one of us and split the cost. But I love to do like the little letterbox, like one-line reviews and stuff, right?
Didn't we start that as like summary in a tweet, and then you've moved
summary
on to
in a tweet, and now it's now we need Letterbox to sponsor us. So
Letterboxd sponsor us.
Obviously, we got to turn it to Letterboxd one-liners. It's the new name of the segment, and I think mine was okay. I don't remember what it was exactly. It was like, Santa Claus, but with like lens flares or something like that, because there was like a lot of lens flares in the movie.
Really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah. I don't maybe it wasn't even that much, but just like every time there was one, I was like, holy cow, freaking again. Cade's one-line review for Violent Night, which I liked. One-liners galore. The Violent Santa seems to be a combination of Scott Calvin, Bad Santa, and Die Hard's John McClane.
100% Die Hard's John
It was
McClane.
fun. Like it was like I said, it wasn't anything crazy. It was like a cool holiday movie, and I love David Harbour, so I was into that. And yeah, it was just kind of like funny and all over the place, and not even subtly, just directly referencing Home Alone in a lot of ways throughout it. It was cool. I liked it. And I did kind of like, and Casey, this is maybe because you didn't see it, right?
No.
Right? It's not like, I mean, it's like maybe a little spoilery, but just I feel like this would almost, if anything, get Casey to watch it.
Yeah.
They give Santa like a Viking-esque like backstory, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he has like this whole like hammer and shit. Like, it's crazy.
So let me talk to you guys really quickly about that. That's really cool, and I love that. So the reason I really liked The Legend of the Guardians, that animated film that came out with Jack Frost a few
With
years
the
ago.
owl?
Yeah. I don't. Maybe no. It's
No, I think that's they're similar names, but they're like two.
Rise of the Guardians.
Rise of the Guardians.
So
Yeah.
what? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But it's got Jack Frost. It's got Russian Santa. He pulls up.
Right.
He's got freaking tattoos. Most badass Santa ever. So now you're telling me there's another legend on
just win.
Santa.
I think this is going to take the place for most badass Santa ever.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Way more badass than
He
Santa
does.
versus the Martians and everything. Deep cut, no one knows. Okay,
Nobody knows.
moving on,
I was
moving
like
on.
awkwardly laughing there because like I haven't seen it. No, I want to watch it now.
No, it's old, like 1950s or something like that.
No.
Like-
I'm talking
like-
about this one with
okay.
cool
I
Santa.
thought you were talking about Santa versus the Martians. It's like you don't want to watch that one.
Sorry, no. I just want to watch Viking Santa now.
Yep. Violent Night is good.
Violent Night.
And then obviously the movie we're doing today, and then I watched Turning Red finally, and it was
Oh,
fun.
that one's good.
It was good. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's
right?
like
it gets kind of wild. Like
it's like anime almost.
yeah,
But
like the way
Pixar
that it
anime.
gets. Because I get they do the whole like eye things or whatever, like oh it's so cute or stuff like that. But then it's just like it gets like crazy at some parts. They like in just like these daydream scenarios or even not daydream scenarios, they just like take you out of like not the medium, but just like you feel like you're in a situation and it pulls you out of it to do this big like feel what we want you to feel right now. And I was like, okay. It wasn't bad. It was good. Like I liked it, but I'm gonna give it 3 stars on Letterboxd. But
Ooh.
I don't remember what I got it, but I remember it wasn't my favorite Pixar either. I liked it. People loved it.
yeah, it
So
seemed
I
like a lot of
expected to
people
like it a lot more.
I've watched it a couple of times. I think it's quite fun, but I know that it's not quite geared or catered towards me.
Yeah.
You're not a 14-year-old girl going through
Puberty.
Puberty.
The essence of pubescence has already hit me, so I don't really need to worry about it. But I did watch Battle Angel Alita again, and I felt all those vibes. So
Nice.
I think there's some similarities there. A little bit of that
The anime.
the anime influence.
And remember, back to the Avatar conversation, remember a lot of the like technology to make that CGI was pulled from what they learned through Avatar?
Right.
James Cameron.
So
He's
now
he's a leader.
that we've got the second Avatar, they can use the second Avatar to make the second
make-
Alita.
There you go.
What we've been waiting for.
I've been trying to figure out how I could buy like 50 old phones and just play Battle Angel Alita on repeat so much like that it gets like a lot of hits. So they create and release a second one.
Perfect.
I'll support you in doing that. I will not accompany you.
I think we're just bits. What have you been watching?
What have
yeah.
you been watching?
So the only thing that pops into mind is I saw Spirited, the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell,
Yeah,
Yes.
so good.
right? Yeah, I forgot his name for a second. Yeah, the Christmas movie, take on Christmas Carol. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's a fun musical. I thought it was interesting the way they shot it. Like a lot of it made this like weird transitions a lot of the time from like a regular movie, how they shoot a regular movie, to how they would shoot like an actual musical on stage. So like pretty much you'd be in the middle of this like story and then it would cut to this musical and they would like jump up on a table and you watch it and you'd be like, oh, I can totally see how they would do this if they did this on Broadway or something. Kept cutting back and forth, that kind of stuff. I really expected it just to be the same as all the other Christmas Carol movies that we've seen in the past, Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooged, all those kind of things. But they took their own little twist with it that was entertaining, and I liked it, and I absolutely love Will Ferrell, and I actually really liked Deadpool in this one too. So whatever his real name is.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Was it more than a Christmas morning feeling for you, Vince? Did it make you want to tap dance on tables?
No, I'm not. I'm not really a tap dancer or a
I feel
singing
like
dance
maybe
man.
secretly you were upstairs just enjoying it, tapping along, humming a little bit, singing.
It might have helped that I watched it with my family on Christmas, or maybe Christmas Eve. I think it's Christmas Eve. So maybe it was like watching it in a group, and they were all into it. We were all having a good time. People were doing puzzles. We ate too much food. We were kind of in that like weird Christmassy buzz.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Buzzed on Christmas.
Yeah, all that Christmas spirit, just like whoa.
I love the Christmas spirits.
Oh man, yeah, it was good though. And then, not really to go into it, but I read the sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas. They came out with a book. It's called The Pumpkin Queen. I gave it to my niece for Christmas and decided to read it before I gave it to her because that's what you do with Christmas presents, right? You use it before you give it away. That's what I learned from my dad when he gave me a Nintendo 64 when I was a kid, and there was a saved file on the James Bond game. So
Dad.
So I read through that, and I was like, I didn't love this. I got to rewatch the old one, or the movie, because I haven't watched that in years and years. And that is a fantastic, fantastic movie that holds up to this day. Love it.
Again.
That's about it.
Nice.
I mean, other than all the
Very nice.
whatever random crap I watch.
The White Lotus. That's the only other thing I have to say. I finished the White Lotus. Cade loves the White Lotus.
It's so good.
I love the
isn't it?
White Lotus. Vince loves the White
love the White
Lotus.
Lotus.
I haven't watched White Lotus.
Casey, well,
And that
I
was
I
your
did finish The
chance.
Boys though today.
That's
Ooh.
right. You texted us
That's another
about
good
that,
one.
and I didn't reply because I wanted to bring it up here.
Oh. It was so good.
You like it?
Also, the snake penises. I just can't get over them. Like, I don't know if you guys have, like, anyone's seen The Boys. It's, like, following along with this. But, like, so The Boys is based off of a hero universe where the heroes are actually flawed and bad and crazy. And I didn't know that I was going to like it as much as I have, but I love it. There's a team that's trying to take down the heroes, and there's a team of heroes that's trying to...
Did you finish season 3?
I finished the most recent season, the one with...
Okay, I think that's season 3.
With
Soldier Boy?
Soldier Boy.
What did you think? Did you like it as much as the other two?
I did, and here's why I liked it. I felt like it was a little bit grittier, kind of darker storyline of kind of like the betrayal within the superhero worlds.
I'm about to say, don't go too crazy.
Sorry, I
still gotta watch it.
I was like going a little bit. I'm not going to give too much away, but it's just kind of like, it's like an onion, maybe even a glass onion.
That transition, wow. That's
Yeah.
3 years paying off. We finally got one good transition in.
But yeah, so speaking of onions, we want to talk about a glass onion.
Speaking of onions, we're going to go into today's movie, which is Shrek.
Shrek 2.
Shrek.
Shrek 2, actually, guys.
You can save that transition for when you do Shrek.
If you guys ever make me do Shrek, I will be so disappointed. I don't want to watch that series ever again. I'm the one person in the world our age who never liked Shrek.
Really?
Shrek
There's
is,
my hot
is
take.
phenomenal.
Who hurt you as a child?
Shrek is like the Deadpool of princess stories and stuff like that. It's like the meta
Yeah.
jokey version of all of it.
Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Don't you know?
Please, no.
There's a religion based on Shrek, actually.
Oh, gosh, there is.
There is a whole
No
community of folks who have dedicated their life to following the tenets of Shrek, which is to get yourself out there, to wear a mask at times when you shouldn't show your face, to save the princess or, do a good deed even though it's unknown, to openly fart and burp whenever you feel contented to, and also to talk to an ass whenever you feel like it. And this religion has about
you start this
5,000
religion?
followers, and I am their leader.
And I'm literally there.
And
This is the Instagram handle?
this is the Instagram handle called Shrek Group, not a cult. And the subtitle is no Shrek feet allowed. People really get into wearing Shrek feet to our meetings. It's kind of weird. They 3D print them. They're like Hulk hands, but Shrek feet.
You just pulled this whole thing out.
Remember how we had this perfect transition into Glass Onion, and then we just went off on Shrek for 20 minutes?
But let's talk Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
Yeah, I got
Got
some
movie
movie
info?
info. We can jump right into that. So, Glass Onion.
First off, the director did not want it to be a Knives Out mystery attached to the thing. He
Yeah.
just wanted it to be a Glass Onion.
Apparently, he was talking with The Atlantic.
This is
And
Rian
he
Johnson,
said,
right?
yep, he was frustrated over having a Knives Out mystery added to the film's title for marketing, which was added for marketing purposes. He says, honestly, I'm pissed off that we have a Knives Out mystery in the title. You know, I wanted it to just be called Glass Onion. I get it, and I want everyone who liked the first movie to know that this is the next in the series, but also the whole appeal to me is that it's a new novel off the shelf every time. Is as if it's a new novel off the shelf every time, so they're not connected other than the one character. I read a little fun fact that he said he toyed with the idea of changing the accent of Daniel Craig's character, and he was thinking he would change the accent in every movie just to do
And
it.
not even
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
literally
even-
not even explain it.
Just do it.
It would have been nuts.
I kind of would have loved that,
Could you
but
imagine-
also I kind of love this accent, so I'm
True.
not really disappointed.
I do like it, but could you imagine like the people who are really good with accents? They're just like, what the is going on here? Just like, why does he have this accent when it was different last time?
Yeah.
Sorry, movie info.
Yeah, so directed by Rian Johnson, written by Rian Johnson. Movie came out on December 23rd, 2022 on Netflix. It also had a little bit of a theater run in a very select amount of theaters just because Rian Johnson really, really wanted it to play in theaters, and it was part of the deal that Netflix made in buying the franchise, the series. I think there is at least one more Knives Out movies that he has made a deal for with Netflix, so they will come out on there.
Nice.
Estimated budget was $40 million. We'll never know what it actually made because it's on Netflix, so who knows?
Jeez, 40 million. Like with that cast and everything, that's kind of crazy. That's really that's not expensive.
No, and it's a huge cast too,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
star-studded, but
Yeah.
not a big cast, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes critics 94% like it, and the audience 93% like it. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10, and Letterboxd is at a 3.8 out of 5. So very, very well received movie, and I absolutely loved it. But I will let one of you guys talk before I keep ranting.
No, I liked it. I did. I think I rated it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I think that there were a lot of really good things about it because there were a lot of Easter eggs that made sense if you've seen the first movie, but then a lot of ones that made sense that were just kind of like placed here and there. Like Glass Onion refers to the Beatles song from the White Album called Glass Onion, and the entire song is literally just the Beatles like talking about the myths, like Paul is dead and like all of these other things. And so it's all just kind of about like the secrecy within that. And so I like that little nod. And I really liked how the actors played with each other, like, and worked with each other. It felt like there was a lot of good chemistry there. I honestly really liked Edward Norton as like the Elon Musk character. I thought that was really good. And Janelle Monáe was beautiful and did an amazing job. I will say the like last third of the maybe the last like fourth of the movie, just the last little bit, pretty much when they start like unveiling it, I thought it kind of went off on its own, but for the most part I really liked it.
I kind of agree with Cade because I think I gave it like 3 stars on Rotten Tomatoes, and I liked it and I thought it was really good. I also really liked the characters. I love so many of these actors, right? Like I love Dave Bautista, I love Janelle Monáe, and I really liked what they were doing with it. I honestly also, we're in spoiler territory already, right?
We haven't
Is
said
that
it, but
cool?
spoilers.
Spoilers. I really liked like the twist in the middle of the movie, right? Where you cut to know, oh, hey, Benoit Blanc didn't get a box, you know. Andy is already dead, and her twin sister is actually going to try and solve this mystery, right? Because it really sets it up so nicely to be like, you think it's just going to be so straightforward, right? Oh, we're going to go to his island. We're going to have a murder mystery where he's dead. Oh, no, he's going to actually be dead, and he's going to solve the case. So I did like that they twisted it and actually made it about something else. I really enjoyed that, and it was very cool. I also agreed that, like, as they go about unraveling it, it definitely felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel super satisfying to me. Like, watching the movie with the characters was really cool, and I definitely didn't, like, call it or anything. I wasn't like, oh, yeah, I know this happened and stuff. I didn't do that, But when you don't know that is when it's supposed to be so exciting, right? When you get a reveal that's so crazy and you're like, oh my gosh, like you watch The Prestige or something else like that. And if you don't know and that hits, you're just like, that's so insane. I didn't know. And I was just like, yeah, okay. Like, that's nice. Like, I guess. Like,
I think I agree with you.
cool.
I think that the appeal to this movie isn't the big reveal. It's the way that they get there. I loved it because I suck at these kind of movies. I think I said this when we did a Knives Out episode, and I think I said the same thing. Like, I cannot, for the life of me, solve these mysteries before the end of the movie in any of them. This one's no exception. And going into this one, I just decided I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch what happens. I'm going to enjoy these characters, and I had a great time with it.
You just embraced it. You were like, a warm friend.
Mm-hmm. And about an hour into it, when no one had died yet, I was like, what am I watching? Like, I thought this was a murder mystery, and it's been an hour, and freaking Fight Club's still alive. You know?
Freaking Fight Club.
I 100% thought that it was going to be Edward Norton that was going to die, because that's what everything, like you said, was leading up to. That's how they marketed it. You know, it's just like, it's going to be a murder mystery, but it's a real murder. And I loved the twist to it. Like, it surprised me. Like you said, I love watching all these these actors. Bautista, like we were saying, I think it was last week. Like, I love him not as Drax. I think he's fantastic in all these other movies where he gets to do something that's within his capabilities, you know. And I don't know. I just thought it was a lot of fun.
I'm going to go in the same vein. I thought it was a lot of fun. I felt like it was a long film, but I also felt like it was doing a lot of kind of world setting the scene type thing. And I really liked that part of it. I also want to agree really quick with Bautista. And Rian Johnson said that Bautista is the greatest wrestler turned actor of all time.
Better than The Rock?
Yes. So much better than The Rock. I want to say it. I think he really is. Like, not only, I know that he's kind of weird and goofy at times in Drax. I love Drax. I know that he's done some other stuff, which is good, but I think this was one of his best films. And in all honesty, like, it was fun. I really loved Daniel Craig. I love the outfit, the attention to detail in so much of this. Like, Chris, not Pine, what's his name? Chris Evans' sweater. You know, everyone's talking about the fashion and the love for Chris Evans' sweater from the first one. Yeah, all the
and
outfits
in this one,
in this
are they all going to be talking about the Bautista's little Speedo? His gun packing Speedo?
I thought, I think, I'm pretty sure on my next vacation, I'm going to walk onto the cruise ship in Kate Hudson's dress that she was wearing.
Oh, dang. Kate Hudson.
That was good.
She can get it in this film. Like, she was woo in all aspects of it.
It was so, like, dumb, though.
I know, but
it's like the character's
it.
supposed to be, right? Like,
we all need that dumb friend. She was there for it.
Birdie J, right?
Yeah.
Birdie.
Okay, I also did love, and I have to, like, I love how, you know, it's obviously not planned that Benoit Blanc is going to be there, and then he is, right? And so the murder mystery that was planned before it even happens, you just know. It's
Just
like,
knocks it out in like
he
30
does
seconds.
the whole thing. And not only is, you know, the guy, he's like, oh my gosh. Beforehand, he was like, I didn't know you were going to be here, but like, this is so cool. Like,
Yeah.
you're here and you're going to be a part of my murder mystery. This is so cool. And then the second that he just like destroys it, he's like, this guy.
My whole weekend is ruined.
He's like,
Okay, honestly though, like, I really want to know how that would have played out if he didn't show up though, because would they have just played the game and like been happy because they were like celebrating the fact that they got the red letter? I thought that was a little weird too. Like, was he actually planning to do that the entire weekend?
I think so. I think that was his plan, was just to party with his buddies. I don't think he was ever going to tell anybody that. Well, maybe was he going to share with them that he got the note?
I think so, probably because they all knew about it, right? They all got the email.
And they all went over to her house and she wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm sure that they probably were like planning something like that, but they did all still kind of have their little things, right? The whole Dave Bautista wanted to get on Alpha News and all this other stuff. So there's still a lot of little things that would have happened. And also, what would have happened if, I forget what her name is, Helen, who's not Andy, right? Their twist is right, Helen. So if she had or hadn't gone without Benoit Blanc, how that would have played out.
That would have been interesting to think about. I didn't think about that.
So I'm unsure, but
I honestly really liked it because I think for the same reason why I like White Lotus is because the writing does a really good job of telling multiple people's like stories at the same time and how they weave in and out of each other. So like at first you see David Bautista, I think her name is Whiskey, like the girlfriend is
Whiskey.
like having sex with Fight Club, and you think for like, oh, like you know, she's cheating, but in actuality, like Bautista is telling her to do it so that he can get the benefit. Like just learning how all of their lives and plans like intertwine without each other. I really like that aspect, and I think that portion of the writing was
Basically, the reason that we watched Glass Onion was so that we could talk about the White Lotus and get Casey to watch it.
And I was going to talk about Shrek and the complexity of the storytelling here with talking about how like some folks just want a very simple life. They want to go to, you know, their space, this private island, and just enjoy their weekend. Or they're invited to go on a quest to save the princess, you know, to find out who murdered whom. And,
How long are we gonna let this run?
Yeah. But no,
until he's out of gas.
Yeah, there's no stopping this meter. No, but really quickly, I think it'd be interesting now that you guys have brought up to see the White Lotus and see the comparisons, obviously. But I do love kind of what you brought up, like the depths of how these guys are all friends, but they're all kind of backstabbing each other. Like that's a weird thing to me. Like, you know, and then they talk about the story of how they all kind of meet and kind of get in together, and like how Andy is kind of like the, I don't know, you know, call her the mover and the shaker within the group, actually.
The one who brings them all together,
yeah,
like the centerpiece.
And how without Andy, how so many of them came to Andy's defense in a way when, you know, they got the email, the printout, not the email, the fax. Sorry, the guy doesn't have phones. It's just faxes.
I don't know. Were they coming to her defense, or were they coming to? Because remember that you get called out for that. Like, were you going over there, and would you have taken her aside if you got there, or were you going there in order to stop her? And because like Miles, right? Miles Braun, I think his name is Edward Norton's character. He had like dirt on all of them.
Yeah,
and they refused to even give her up until the very, very end of the movie.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. I was like, what was it going to actually be? Because in the moment, it could have been completely different. Like, oh man, like what's going on?
It felt very. We just did an episode on the menu not that long ago, and the end of it, like without getting too spoiler heavy into the menu, the end of it kind of felt very similar to the end of the menu.
Burn it all down,
and just like as it goes down, you know, smoke a cigar in the smokeless garden, you know, just
it
like
pained me.
Watch
though.
it all go.
It pained me to see that happen. Like, I'm not giving away the spoiler to the end of this movie, but it pained me to see that what was burnt. Ugh.
Okay,
I love fine art. What can I say?
Are you talking
That's
about
why you love Shrek so much.
Yeah.
Shrek.
Are you talking about watching that giant picture of Edward Norton without a shirt on, burning in the background?
Yeah,
That's what I was talking
that
about.
was the issue. All those self-portraits of Edward Norton, I can see the Fight Club-ness in him still to that moment.
okay. 1 out of 10, rate how awesome or terrible a vacation would be on this island. If you went and it was like
I had to
just
stay at
you
the house
and like your buddies or whoever you'd go on vacation with. You go to this island. And you're like on vacation there for like a week or something.
Oh, if I could take Vince?
Am I there concurrently, like with all of this drama, or is it like separate?
Yeah, that's my question.
Let's say you survive, but sure.
We're just the friend in the
I don't know.
background
I feel
wandering
like-
around the whole time.
All
So
right,
we
and
are.
at least you have a
Dude, that
couple
was
days.
so funny.
Oh, true.
Yeah, the friend in the background. That's who I want to be during this whole thing. I just want to point that out.
Wasn't he a nice touch? Like
Yeah.
imagine what Edward Norton is doing like on his off time when no one else is around, like pretending to be this big like tech genius, but really he's just like getting high with his freaking buddy in the back room, like who just wanders around and he tells him to hide whenever someone important comes around.
Yeah, I just love that he's like, oh, he's my, I forget his name. He's my friend. He's just going through something right now. He's just staying here on the side.
Well, and like you would see like times like where he would just like sneak in the back like with a bag of chips or something like that and be like, I'm not here or something like that. I cracked me up. And then exactly. And then at the end when like he is smoking the cigar, when it's all like burning his friends there too, like hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So to play back into your question, I would want to be the friend on the island the whole time. On a scale of 1 to 10, if I was that guy, my enjoyment level would be like a 9 watching everyone else's drama.
Very nice.
It would be fun to be there, but you know, he made him turn off all the phones. Like you left. I mean, maybe didn't make them because I guess Bautista still had his. I don't know. It could get kind of boring.
alerts.
I'm more of a mountain person than a beach person, personally. An hour or two on the beach is great. I don't know if I'd want 3 days on a beach, but that's just me.
Sure. I think I'd like it. Like, imagine, so for me, originally when I was thinking about it, I guess I was kind of just thinking about just staying there. But if we go, like, you know, you're there during all of this happening, I don't know. Maybe that brings it down a bit. I was going to say like an 8 or a 9, like you're on this private island by yourself. Can you imagine if it wasn't exactly like that and that room, his like office or whatever, with that crazy like, because you got the glass onion, right? And then in the top of the glass onion, you have that super cool looking like diagonal thing that you can, it looks like you can see forever into. Like, could you imagine like staying in that room as your room? That would be like, I think that would look dope.
It would be dope.
That'd be sweet.
Very
Sorry, I was just like,
That
that's
pool,
what I was thinking.
the pool was nice too. It cracked me up because they were on the beach, but like they were swimming in the pool most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the like Banksy doc, I thought was like, obviously they like talk about how it's like a piece of shit, but like it looked
Piece of
cool.
Yeah.
That brings me to my first topic, if you guys want to go through it. Cameos and name drops. I wrote down as many as I could find.
I'm ready. Banksy.
First off, Banksy at the dock. We'll start with name drops.
Okay.
So I forgot to write Banksy down. So glad you brought that one up. Number 2, Jared Leto's kombucha.
Oh, yes.
Ridiculous.
Hard kombucha by Jared Leto.
3, Jeremy Renner's hot sauce. Plays a good role towards the end of the movie.
Yes, it gets so close.
I kind of want to try that hot sauce now. Don't want to try the kombucha. Number 4, I think, Gillian Flynn.
Oh, the writer.
She's the writer who supposedly wrote his murder mystery. She wrote Gone Girl.
Yep.
And another movie I can't think of.
Girl on the Train.
Girl on the Train, is that who it is?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last name drop is Philip Glass, who is a composer, and he's the one who's like, I played Philip Glass to compose the gong that they did. Which brings me to my
Speaking
first
of the-
cameo. Go ahead. You know it?
Sorry, I
Oh,
was
you
gonna
got
say it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He cameos in all of Rian Johnson's movies.
I didn't know
Literally, if you look it up on IMDb, his credit is Hourly Dong, which I love.
Hey, man, Joseph Gordon-Levitt could be my hourly dong anytime.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry, we'll cut it out.
No, that's fine.
Nope. That's going in there forever.
All right, it's part of history now. Oh,
Wow.
man.
How much do you think that Jared Leto got paid for that? I mean, to walk in and just go gong,
Or
and then they
Joseph
and then they,
Gordon-Levitt.
and then they
Joseph
tweaked it. Yeah,
Yeah. Probably like 50K a gong.
maybe. Or do you think he just walked in and was just like, "I'll do it"?
He probably just did it, and then Rian Johnson was probably like, "Here, take some money." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that happened. Ethan Hawke, he cameos in
Oh,
the movie.
he's at the very first of the movie. He's the one spraying them in the mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just showed up on
Oh,
set. He was in town and decided to come to set and was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll do this random role." So they put him in the movie. He was doing the Marvel movie Moon Knight, and was just in town when they were doing it. So he
What
came
the
to hang out
heck?
and decided
That's
to do a part.
amazing.
That's
That's
cool.
so
Actually,
cool.
I thought he was going to weirdly have a bigger presence in the show after that moment. I was like,
I
oh,
know,
man,
it's a big name.
Because he's huge and he's like a good actor. And then he's just like,
He gave you magical.
gone.
You can't get COVID now. Spray in order to avoid talking about masks for the
There
rest
was
of the movie.
no explanation. It was just, here's this dust. All right, you're good now. Like,
It's-
don't
it's-
even question
it was-
it.
You're
God, I wish I
fine.
could transition into my next topic because that would be perfect right there, which is the mask scene.
Oh.
But I got a couple of other cameos to
okay,
throw
okay.
in, and then we can jump over to that. Okay, real
Okay,
quick.
ready.
So Hugh Grant shows up as Blanc's boyfriend at his
Oh, I loved
apartment.
this. Yes. Hugh Grant, because I watched Love Actually again, and he's the
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. Thank you. He's the dancing man, the Prime Minister. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, actually. So I was really excited about that.
Awesome. The Zoom call is the last thing. Oh, and Serena Williams shows up in the gym.
Oh, that was good.
Right. I was like, what is this?
Sorry,
Like, when
I
she
kind
did
of threw that away as, oh yeah, and Serena Williams was there. Serena Williams was in this movie.
Well, like, because it looked so real, and I was like, oh, geez, like, and I was like, kind of wondering, I'm like, why did they just get Serena Williams to do like a picture for this like random gym? Obviously, the guy's famous and stuff, but I was like, why'd they do this?
I thought
And
it was
then
an
she's
AI
like-
at first. Like I was like, oh, it's like an AI computer.
What
And
if
then
what if it was though? Like,
No,
Because
I
I know
magic gas.
I know that obviously they got her to do, you know, the actual part, and she's like, I'm on the clock for an hour or something, but like, what if it is an AI though? Like, you think you have Serena Williams, but she's really just
So the inventor
somewhere
guy,
else.
Fight Club guy, he creates an AI on his fax machine the night Serena Williams, AI, Jim Trader, sends it to this guy, the smart guy. 3 a.m, he's like, okay, I can create that, sure.
Yeah.
Very possible theories. Very possible.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
I want a fax machine now just to fax you guys ideas for the podcast.
You're going to go fax machine and beepers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to the 80s.
Yeah, bring
I'll
the
just
80s
page
back.
you when
Whack.
I know what we want to do next.
The last cameos is on the Zoom call. There's 4. Angela Lansbury,
Oh, yes.
Stephen Sondheim,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and
Sondheim.
Natasha Lyonne from Orange is the New Black.
I loved that so much.
who she will be starring in his next show or movie for Peacock or something. So that's why she got involved. So those are all the
and
cameos.
I thought the Zoom call was cool because both Angela Lansbury and Stephen Sondheim are dead. That was the last thing that they did before they passed
Oh.
away.
Really?
Oh wow.
I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Allie, my wife, was like, oh, when she saw her, she's like, Angela Lansbury, like excited. Also, did you guys, hold on here really quickly. I've been listening to a podcast that was recorded during the pandemic, and they talked about doing like Zoom games with friends and buddies. Did you guys get on and do that kind of stuff?
We did a couple for work.
Yeah.
I didn't just get on with my friends and do that kind of stuff, though. Like, I don't remember.
We did Among Us, I think, once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did that, though. That's what's funny.
There was a lot of those Easter eggs or pandemic Easter eggs in this. Like Hugh Grant was wearing like a tie-dye apron. Tie-dye got really big during the pandemic.
It got huge.
Those internet games got really big. That's all I
Among
can think of
Us.
off the top of my
Oh,
head,
because
but-
they literally played Among Us in the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah,
They played
I
Among
like saw
Us.
this, I was like, hold up.
But like he was
Well, and
baking
it
as well, wasn't he? Like baking bread, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
and
yeah,
like,
no, yeah, it was
even-
sourdough bread, which I read on like as I was doing my
Yeah.
research on this. Apparently, making sourdough got really popular during the pandemic.
I made so many types of sourdough during the pandemic. I
but
gained,
that was just
like
your
25,
normal life. That didn't
25 pounds. I had more time to bake bread, so I baked like 2 loaves a day instead of like 1 a week.
Sorry, you were saying, kid?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, seeing kind of all of those pandemic things in like an actualized movie was kind of interesting. Like at the beginning when they first start receiving the boxes, and Catherine Hahn's character is like, "Oh shit," and like I forgot. It's because it was like so quick. Like that just called me back. I was like, "Oh yeah, she's one of those types of people." Like you got to know because like of the pandemic, like these types of characters so early because of I think those associations.
Yes. What a great transition, Cade. We are killing it tonight. This is the first COVID movie where I haven't like been like, oh, I don't want to think about COVID. You know, like I think it worked so well for this one, just the time period and everything. It wasn't rubbing it in your face, but it did so much to establish each one of these characters without saying a thing about them.
Yep.
Like that mask scene that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
The spray in the dude's mouth, like it's all flash. It probably doesn't even work, but it just says so much about his character, about Miles Braun being like this flashy guy who thinks he's got the cure for everything. That probably didn't do anything, you know?
Yeah,
but he's
'cause
running
this
around
is-
like saying like, oh no, I got the cure.
Because this was supposedly like a couple months, like 2 or 3 months into like when COVID was like happening, right? And so like they're there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, like we've got it. Like this won't
Well,
be
and even
available for
then-
everyone, but."
And even then, like when Birdie was like having her party, somebody like said something about it. Like, "Are you having a party?" And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, they're all in my bubble." And it's just like that classic like celebrity line that like they all did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have missed a cameo there. Yo-Yo Ma was in that in that scene too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
He's the one who like came over and like explained the box too.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so every one of the characters is wearing a different mask in that scene, and it says so much. Like you got the spray for Miles, who doesn't, he's all flash. You have Lionel, the scientist, who's wearing like the big effective N95 mask that will like really keep the germs out. You got Claire, whose mask is like always falling off her nose. And it's like each one of these characters, you're like, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. You don't even have to like by experiencing it. We all can know.
The
Birdies.
The net one was
Yeah.
the one that got me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right? It drives you crazy. You see that, you're just like, what is the point? Like, it's just
What?
fashion. And I remember thinking, I've seen these people.
You've
you
seen
know,
those people,
in
you
the
got it.
street.
And then up comes Motorcycle Man and like
Duke
no
and Whiskey.
mask. Yeah, Duke and
They don't
Whiskey.
even have
No
it,
mask. No given.
Who are on Twitch just gaming and just like saying that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, like, I loved it. It's such a cool way to like explain someone without saying anything. I just thought it was a fantastic scene, fantastic mechanism of storytelling or world building, you know?
So, yeah, true.
Also, the fact that they all like show up individually in a group and they're all standing there on the dock was pretty cool. I do want to say though, really quickly, going back to Science Guy and like his masks and stuff like that, I loved the introduction of Science Guy. He was my favorite. I forget what that guy's name is.
So his name is Lionel.
Lionel.
Here.
Yeah.
That's how I can remember him.
But
I think it's a trope on our podcast at this point that we're just like, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, some guy with some
Science
nickname.
Guy.
I also want to highlight Shrek's mask from Shrek 1 when he was wearing the helmet. His, unfortunately, wasn't a proper mask for this. Had slits down the front, but luckily his head was protected as well. But no, Lionel, anyhow, like getting back to that, I loved like his setup, how he's in a giant warehouse, which happened to a lot of like tech people. Actually, like Elon Musk lived in the warehouse at Tesla inside of like a little teeny, like this is an actual company called a Boxable. He bought a Boxable, built it inside of the Tesla Gigafactory. That's where he was staying during the pandemic.
He'd like sleep on the couch, right?
Yeah, tech bros do that all the time. So it's like a very interesting also call out and kind of comparison to like what a lot of those innovators or whatever, disruptors.
Disruptors.
I don't know.
Well, and I was going to say, like, the scene where they are showing each person's location and how they go about solving the box puzzles, I thought was really interesting because you got to see it did a mix to see, like, a little bit more who these characters are and establishing them, but then also understanding, like, what their role, I think, is going to be throughout the movie. Because, like, shout out to David Bautista's mom, like in that movie where she's the one that solves them all. But like, yeah, but
it's
yeah,
a stenogram.
Mom, you can't talk while I'm streaming.
I just love that they made him out to be like, even though, you know, because it can be like a very much like a stereotype, right? Like if you like stream on Twitch, you like live in your mom's basement or stuff like that. But they made him out to be like a successful Twitch streamer, but I guess he just still like lives with his mom, like whatever. Him and his girlfriend, they're just still.
I mean, everyone, like so many people moved home to be with their families during that time because a lot of
I
people.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, like
his pod.
Yeah, that was his pod. So maybe him,
his mom, and whiskey.
Yeah,
and probably some whiskey too.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of whiskey in that house.
But yeah, like it was kind of just like going back to the thing. Like it was a good flashback, and I think it was a healthy flashback. So I really like the call out. Like, and I didn't dread it.
I loved that whole scene too. That the intro, how they cut everybody's storylines together with like cool, like they split the screen up a little bit, so everyone's doing a little thing and.
Well, what was cool is it was a FaceTime call, right? And then like there were two on the top, one on the side, and then as they were piecing it together, how it was like sliding and shuffling differently as a puzzle box.
It was cool to watch. Also,
those puzzle boxes are so cool. I've never wanted to get into puzzles more in my whole life.
I would have loved to see, and obviously for the purpose of the movie that's already like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something was its runtime. Like I feel like what they did in that scene was perfect. But it showed just like a quick little like montage as they were finishing it of just like doing a ton of stuff. And there was so much in there. And I was like, I would love to see all of these puzzles. Like it gets solved little by little. Like that'd be so cool. But ultimately, since I'm not as smart, I would have taken Janelle Monáe's approach.
A hammer?
Smash it. I mean, hey, I'll get in still. Like you got your invitation, I got my invitation. Like, just like we're the same. Perfect.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Who was your favorite character in this whole series?
I'll probably say Helen until the end when everything starts like going to shit, because I think that she does an insane job of like pretending to be her like rich bitch sister, and she does a really good job of like making decisions on the fly and just kind of going with it and really like honestly hunting throughout the house for clues and stuff like that. It was only at the end when things start burning and she's like just trying to trash everything because she's upset that I was like, okay, like all right. But other than that, like I think she was probably my favorite character. But I don't know, I actually did really like Edward Norton Fight Club character. So
yeah, I would agree. I really liked Edward Norton, and I really liked Benoit Blanc in this one. I liked how his approach was like if we're comparing it to the first one, right? Like he was still an integral part of the series, which was good, like the movie, but he's kind of like more off the back from what we can see until they kind of unfold the backstory that's happening on the other side with the death of the sister and so much.
So of the new characters, I definitely like what Dave Bautista did. I thought it was really smart, and his character was so not like relatable, but it's like you knew, right? And we talked about that with like the masking and everything. You could kind of tell the types of personalities people had. I like Dave Bautista for the new characters, but I still think Daniel Craig and Benoit Blanc just stole the show. He's just like so good. And right when we find out his real intentions of being there and stuff like that, stuff that he did previously in the movie, like makes more sense, right? Like when he went to talk to Miles, right? And he was like, oh, a bunch of children's games. Like he wasn't like, because at first when you watch that, you thought that he really was just like that good. And Miles is like, oh, well, crap. But he was like doing it purposely to kind of, get in and kind of edge him on and stuff like that so that all of this stuff could happen.
Also, really quick, Catherine Hahn's character, I thought she was really good.
I just love Catherine Hahn.
I do too. I love her so much.
She's fantastic.
I wrote last night after the movie ended, love this cast. Catherine Hahn's the best. Baptista was great. Kate Hudson even better. Ned Norton is a favorite, and Daniel Craig is so much fun to watch, especially when he's not James Bond.
Yeah.
So apparently I loved everybody in this movie.
All-star cast, and I feel like they all played their roles perfectly, and it was a good time. Like I said, I definitely was like less impressed by it than the first one. And I know we haven't talked about the first one, and we don't have to yet if you guys don't want to, but I was just wondering which one you like more.
I'll go first because I don't remember the first one. I remember the clue that gives away who did it, but I don't remember who did it or how they got there. So I like this one better because I don't remember the first one.
Fair. I like the first one better, in all honesty. But I would, like, not to be weird, but I'd put this movie in regular rotation just so I have the other one. I think the difference in this one was it was more out of touch for me, right? Like they're both about people who are from wealthy family type thing, like they have money type thing. But this one was like, I've never flown off to a private island with my buddies. Yeah. And the other one was like going to grandpa's house and something weird happens there. And that's why it's more relatable and something could have happened. We played a lot of games at my grandparents' house, so who knows? That might also be why.
I think the first one is better as well because I agree. It's a little bit more relatable and understandable. And I also like the breakdown of like grandpa died, like who is it? Because everybody wants their piece of the money. Here it was like you didn't blame anybody. Like you knew that Edward Norton's character was a douchebag the entire time. So like if anyone, like I never cared about his character because I knew that he was the bad guy from the beginning. Having said that, I still did like the movie, and while like obviously it's been discussed that this is it's a sequel, but it's trying to be a standalone. It really is a standalone. You don't need to see the first one to understand, for the most part, what's going on in this movie. But yeah, I definitely like the first one better.
Yeah, agreed. With Kate talking about that, it was something that I thought about during the movie. I have a super fun drinking game if you want to die of alcohol poisoning. It's called Every Time They Say Golden Teat or Holding On to That Money, You Take a Shot. So, because it was like multiple times they were like hanging on to that golden tea, like, and I was just like, again, like,
or golden titty.
That's like literally what they said multiple times. I thought it was hilarious though. It was so funny, but.
That's a great idea. I actually haven't played a drinking game
not
in a
a good
movie
idea.
in a long time, so maybe I'll be dead next time you see me because I drank too much.
No.
I'm kidding.
I didn't come up with this if the police ask.
No, it was all a joke. But I also think that what was really cool about this compared to comparing the first and the second movie, going back to that really quickly, I also like the flashback that it gave me to those years of COVID, like early COVID and time of early COVID, but also the fact that I was like breathing a little easier because we weren't in that anymore when they were like doing that. Like I remember rolling my eyes at first when we saw masks, actually. Like I was kind of like, oh, fudge. Yeah, it was kind of irritating. And then they're like, they get the spray and they don't have to wear it. Because like I think about with mask stuff and pandemic stuff, I think about all those cheesy Zoom videos that all the wealthy people made during this time too. And they would sing songs, and kumbaya the rest of us, so it was fine.
Imagine.
Yeah.
On their
It's when they're
mansions.
singing them.
Did you guys solve it before the movie ended? And if not, who did you suspect before the big reveal?
So, can I give my answer?
Yeah.
No, but I was weirdly suspicious of the Janelle Monáe's character, and here's why.
Of Andy?
Yeah, of Andy, because like one, I got why she was being kind of like bitchy and stuff like that, like standoffish maybe is a better word to say there, because of what happened with the court case as they unfold it. However, I thought it was weird that Andy's character just smashed the box at the first, and that her like, and I'm not saying anything about the way anyone does her, because I have the lamest, straightest, widest hair of all time, so I've never had to like take any extra hair steps to get my hair done, but the hair was vastly super different. And I know that type of hair takes a long time to change and adjust. And so I was like, even like if, for instance, Andy wore a wig or something like that, like her hair would not just be naturally that curly and looking that way, because I have plenty of friends and relatives who actually who have the African American hair. And so I'm like, that was where I was a little suspicious. But other than that, I didn't call it. I was just like, oh, I'm suspicious.
You heard through the whole thing.
Yeah, I was kind of like paying attention. But I also, just so you guys know, I didn't read any spoilers. I actually I only watched the original teaser trailer for this. So
Yeah.
I knew nothing about this film
I was
going
right there
into
with
it.
you. That's why
So-
I thought Ed Norton was going to die through the whole thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to die.
As we got to the end and Ed Norton wasn't dead, I wouldn't say that like I solved it, because I didn't, but I was definitely like, as we got to the end and he wasn't dead, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of looking a little weird for him. Most of the movie, if I'm honest, I was sus of Birdie J, of Kate Hudson's character.
Good call out to the Among Us.
Because she's very like ditzy and very vocal and just kind of says whatever she wants, right? Which, by the way, one of my favorite lines from the movie from Benoit Blanc, right? It's like, do not mistake speaking freely with speaking the truth, or something like that. Like, I thought it was a really smart line. But it's like those people who are like so like ditzy and just always talking and stuff like that, you know, that they're like that. That's like their personality, and they can act and they can seem like so unintelligent a lot of the times, but you know that they're not always like that, right? Like, yes, she's like super ditzy and stuff like that, but you know, like, yeah, she's still famous, and yeah, she has good looks and stuff like that, but you know that there's got to be something going on in there, right? And so because of that, I was like, I'm kind of sus, because she's just being like way too like over the top with that. But I guess she just was, I guess. So
Really
her
quickly,
and Yo-Yo Ma are just gonna chill.
my favorite part of Birdie was when the sweatshop comment comes up. Like,
Yeah.
Sounds great. Emoji of
Yeah,
your
so
Dabbing
emoji.
emoji. Oh,
You didn't
it
think
cracked
that
me up.
sweatshops made sweatpants, did you?
sorry, I just had to call that out. I know
That's
we're
funny.
talking about breakdowns, but like that moment, I literally was like cringe laughing, because you're like, no, just like that. And you're like, you're just laughing as it's happening. You're like, I don't know why this is sad and funny all at once. But yeah, that's
Oh. I actually really like the Knives Out writing style, because I feel like at the beginning of the movie, I always kind of get a feel for who it's at. And in the first movie, I thought, yep, it's Chris Evans. He's the killer. It's the one that makes the most amount of sense. And in this one, because Edward Norton kind of brought everybody, I thought he was the serial killer too. But they do such a good job of like gaslighting you in the movie of like, no, it's actually not this person, so that I completely change my mind. And at the end, it always is that person. So like, just like the same thing with Edward Norton and the glass, where like they showed us straight that he handed it to Dave Bautista, but then like they spend such like a long time talking about it and how he picked it up, that you just like, okay, yep, he must have picked it up on his own. So like the way that they go about that kind of reminds me of just the style of writing in general, because I had an idea at the beginning of the movie, and then I completely ignored it for the rest of the movie until obviously it was revealed, and I was like, oh shit, I was right.
It was a weird,
Yeah.
like that moment, right? Gaslighting you, playing telephone, if it were, like trying to change the narrative. What an interesting piece of that, because it's like I was in great belief of that. Actually, I was like, wait, yeah, no, he grabbed the wrong glass. Like I was right there. Yeah,
I do that same thing every time I watch these movies. I'm like, oh, it's him. And then like 5 minutes later, no, it's definitely him. But I didn't expect it was Miles, because I thought that would be too obvious, kind of a thing. I do that a lot in these movies. I'm like, oh no, they wouldn't be that person. That's way too obvious of a thing, And then I always convince myself that it's not the character. I was suspecting Catherine Hahn for a long time through the movie, because I was watching it trying to pick out, the subtle things that someone could have done. And there was a moment, in the scene before Bautista died that she bumps into him, and like awkwardly they like go out of their way to show this moment of her like bumping into him and kind of like looking up at him and like falling away, kind of a thing. I was like, that's it. That's when she stole the gun.
Got it.
Catherine Hahn. It's got to be her. And so I tried to do what I don't always do, and I just committed. Don't give up. Just commit to this one person. Then you're either going to be wrong, or otherwise you're going to go through 5 different people. Just think it's her and then enjoy the ride, kind of a thing. And of course I was proven completely wrong.
Also, she's a politician, so I was kind of expecting like some sort of like from the politician, like, oh yeah, this story can't get out, it'll ruin my career.
All I know is I'm definitely, I'm going to be powering my home with clean from now on. Definitely.
Oh,
Boom.
That is such an interesting part, though. Like the idea of these alternative fuels, because we're obsessed with those right now in tech and in society. Like, how can we get away from blank, blank, blank? Boom, glass house. Busted.
That's
Boom,
something
the
that's
Hindenburg.
interesting about his movies, is these murder mysteries that turn into big action blockbusters at the end. Like, wasn't there like a big chase scene in Knives Out or something?
There
too?
was, in a little car like Josh has.
Yes.
The little Hyundai car.
Yeah, it is.
In the first one. Yeah.
That I had.
Rest in peace.
Nice. Do we all need a moment?
We did it.
Moment of silence.
Oh, should we link hands? Oh, wait, we couldn't do this. I'm in the middle. Dang it. But, like, just a moment of silence for Josh's cars.
Do you want to do the rewind?
Most rewindable moment for me would be the explosion, to be honest with you. That was a pretty cool scene. I don't like the deep destruction of Janelle Monáe's character, but I like the... That was cool.
The explosion itself, and then the justice that she gets at the end.
Yeah, and also the moment where he brings up her drink and he's like, Whiskey Blank. I hope that's still your thing. I forget what that.
Cola.
Whiskey Cola. Yeah, Whiskey Soda.
Whiskey Soda. That's what
I was like, that was like a really rewindable moment for me. But then also all the moments with a friend. Sorry, there's a lot of them for me, but all the moments with a random guy. Oh, don't mind me. I want to be that guy.
I think my most rewindable moment from the show is when she gets shot, and you don't know that she's going to survive.
Oh, that was good.
Right? Because it leaves you questioning for so long, because she gets shot and you're just like, oh no, and then that's when it does the rewind. That's when it does the rewind to show you like why he's actually there, and her coming to her, and you find out that the real Andy's dead, and blah 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 blah, right? And it does all this stuff, and they keep talking about how dangerous it is, but she's like, no, I'm gonna go, and all this stuff, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. She shouldn't have come because she's dead. And so like, I really like when she got shot, because it was shot really well. How it all ended up, it was suspenseful and stuff, and it really set up the next scene really well. And then you found out that she didn't actually die. Boom. Just kidding. But that was my most rewindable moment.
Can we talk about, from that moment, the Jeremy Renner's hot sauce all over her body, how painful that must have been?
Dripping into her nose.
Yeah, dripping into her nose.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
What was the point? I didn't understand the point of Daniel Craig's character putting it in his eyes. Like, at first I thought he was trying to make him cry,
emotions.
And then he didn't.
Yeah,
He did, though.
I thought
It's supposed to make him look puffy and
he
a
looked
little
cryy.
bit sad.
Yeah.
I was actually, because when it first showed it, before you knew that he had done that, I saw that he was emotional, and obviously you knew that they had like planned kind of this stuff, but like when you saw it, I was a little taken aback that he was so emotional, right? I was like, what? Like, why though? But then it explains it a little.
It made sense to me.
I don't have a small TV, like, necessarily, but the way that, like, Dave Bautista's character was when he got out of the pool before you realized it was a gun, I straight up thought, he had a banana hammock in for like a special sling, and I was like, what is going on here? And then he fires the gun, and okay. But yeah, at that moment I was wanting to rewind and see what I was seeing.
Wanting to rewind. Very good.
I'm telling
Dave
you.
Bautista, man.
I'll pause,
That Speedo's
rewind,
the new swing.
and replay that banana hammock.
Bobbo.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Giggity goo.
And Vince.
I love the reveals of these kind of movies because, like I said, I suck at them. So the reveal of who actually did it, I'm always like, oh, of course. And so, of course, with this one, it's the same thing.
Could you do that face one more time, really quick?
I don't know what I did.
You're like, of course.
The Home Alone?
Yeah, like pretty much.
You take a picture for our YouTube channel, really quick.
You just look like the
screenshot.
The next
happiest
thumbnail.
Yeah, like the happiest
Those
like
thumbnails you
person
hate.
ever.
Yeah. Vince didn't know the ending.
Crazy twist.
But those are always my favorite when everyone comes together and everyone's like, Jacuse, and they're like, and they all figure it out and they all have their big reveal moment climax. I think that's my favorite of this one too. All of them in that one room, Ed Norton like freaking out. Not the actual like freak out when she's breaking stuff, but when they're like,
and then they all die.
what actually
Well,
happened.
the best is like when the power goes out and he's like squealing and running around.
Yeah, it's
that
fun.
was great.
When he's really just trying to hide that he has the gun and phone in his pocket. What a good way to do it. Like, oh no, everyone's trying to kill me. I have to get away from
Also,
everybody.
I didn't notice they had the phone, but apparently I should have
It's
rewound this.
It's in his back pocket.
Yeah,
you can
like
see
you
it.
didn't notice
He
this.
does. So there's a scene where he runs behind Benoit Blanc, and he turns around and grabs him from behind like this, and you can see the phone in his back pocket in that moment. If you're watching for it,
I wasn't looking
it'd
at
be
his
fun
butt.
to go back and like watch the movie knowing who it is and seeing all those moments where you're just like, I should have known. I should have got this.
I think that's
I'm
why
smarter than this.
I think that's why the first one to me is so watchable, because you see something a little bit different every time.
you see it.
Because you remember it differently, right? And you know it's kind of going to happen. This one I think will be the same way, so I'm excited to watch it again.
See, I always think to myself, why am I ever going to watch this again? I already know the ending, but I think that's the reason right there.
I have a I don't know about this, but I have like a thing where for at least a year or so after I get the movie, I'll watch it a couple of times just because I want to, and to like see the movie from like a knowing
Other
perspective, a
perspectives.
little bit more knowing perspective, but a perspective that's also kind of forgotten a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the clear like energy thing, at the end of the movie when she like throws it and it explodes and you see like Benoit Blanc and the bum character like sitting outside, I straight up thought that she killed everybody. I thought everybody was dead, and then it seemed like a cartoon thing where like there was this massive explosion but they all just have like a little dust on their face. Like that I think was a little, I don't know.
That was
It
a little
all right.
that was a little cartoony, but I think based around maybe the product having like, depending on the type of explosion, it would, that certain point of gust would just push them back and knock them out of space.
Put on your science hat. Science with Casey.
Science with Casey.
Our newest segment.
I know
All right.
nothing about science. I claim to not be a scientist. This is just an opinion. And so, yeah, I'm not a scientist.
I am a scientist, and I am expert on a very specific form of energy that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah. And it's only been about 46 hours or something that I've been pro at this. So I did a lot of late night research deep into the night. And then somehow I also ended the night on Welsh rarebit. So there we go.
There you go. Did you have any other sections you wanted to go over?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Final thoughts on Shrek. I mean, ogres have. The glass onion.
Lord Farquaad is a lot taller than he appears. And we've been giving him a lot of grief over the years. No, I'm just kidding. Anyhow, I love
He's
that.
got inches where it matters.
Oh gosh. Ooh. No, I just want to call out great costume, great story, and also a really healthy amount of like, I think the music in this, like kind of like the side music kind of as you're going along, was very influential in helping you experience this from like going along. And I love how they call it Clue as well, how the guy hates Clue, but it also still felt like a clue because you're all together in a room doing things throughout the whole thing. So it was fun.
They all have their own outfits too. In the red with what?
The monkey wrench. The
Yes.
clear.
I liked it. I definitely did enjoy a lot of the character arcs and the character play and the way they set it up, like you said. And so maybe I'll consider the movie a little bit differently now because of what you said with these, Knives Out and Rian Johnson with how he does it, stuff like that. It may be a little less about the actual murder mystery and reveal and stuff and a little more about how we get there with the characters and everything, because all of that is super enjoyable. Because obviously I'm sorry, I'll bring it back one more time, The White Lotus, and that's like all that is, right? There's not really, like, there kind of is, but there's not really these big, like, endings that are, like, super satisfying with The White Lotus, right? It's just all about the characters and what happens between them and how, like Kate said, they weave in and out of each other's stories. And so that part was super enjoyable. And so I don't know, maybe when I see this again, which I don't think I'm like Casey, I'll usually wait a couple years before I see a movie again unless it's really good. Maybe when I see this again, I'll consider it in a different light and I'll up my Letterboxd rating.
Oof. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5.
You did?
On Letterboxd, yeah. And I still would. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I've already said that. And I don't usually say that about murder mystery movies, I don't think. I don't usually I don't know, maybe my opinion of this genre has changed over time, but it could also be that I'm a really big Rian Johnson fan. I don't think he's made a movie that I haven't liked. So maybe it's just his storytelling, his writing, like you were saying, that just like makes me really enjoy what he does. I'm looking forward to whatever he does next, even though it's on Peacock, and I don't want to get Peacock.
Can you get like a free version of Peacock?
I don't know. I just don't want to even bother.
Just come to my house and watch it.
All right, deal.
All right.
Done.
Perfect.
Cade.
I really liked it. I think I gave it a 3.5, but only because like I don't know if Jeremy Renner's hot sauce exists actually in real life, and so it kind of gave me damn. No, I really did like it. I think, like I said, the ending felt a little forced, but other than that, I thought it was a beautiful cast, like incredible storytelling, how they weaved in and out of each other, and then like a really good like side commentary on how the world is today, both like with the pandemic, but also with billionaires. Yeah, I liked it a lot. There was also like just a few little call outs like on the billionaire thing. Like at one point when when Edward Norton is talking with Janelle Monáe's character, he's dressed exactly like a Steve Jobs type thing. And so it was like, there was like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and like all of these other things. And so you could tell they were trying to say something about billionaires and just kind of social commentary in general. So I liked it, and I appreciated you guys having me on again for this podcast. It was a good movie to be on for.
We're definitely happy to have you, and also thankful to Vince for setting it up with the board so that we could have you and it gets integrated so seamlessly into the podcast. So
crossing your fingers that next time I'll be able to figure out how to get your actual like video footage that we're looking at onto the screen. Maybe in the meantime, we'll just have to send me a picture of you, like, so whenever you're talking, it'll pop up.
Sounds good.
No, what we need is we need to take a screenshot of him right here, and then do like the cut on the mouse, and then just put up.
Not even matching the words.
Yeah.
Just going.
It's like the really South Park thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I want right there. South Park.
I'll see what I can do.
No, guys, thank you so much for putting this together, Vince, as always, and for picking the film. I don't know who chose this film, but thank you.
I think I did just because we were wanting to do one before the year wrapped up, because I think maybe not the next one, but pretty soon here we're going to be doing our best films of 2022, and this is definitely one that I wanted to watch before I made said list. So
I'll give you my top film of 2022. You ready?
No, because the year's not over, and I know that you haven't finished the best
film
of
Puss in
2022 yet.
The Puss in Boots sequel?
I was going to say Avatar, Way of Water.
Does Shrek make a cameo in that movie?
He does, actually.
Really?
Does
he really?
He's dancing in the bottom of the ocean, just like
you
this.
just can't see it.
But he has his mask on.
I'm in a different movie than you are.
I
You're in
did
Avatar
too.
right now.
I did too. I was thinking Puss in Boots. I was like, oh, you actually saw it. Okay.
Yeah, and then I was like, and he's dancing underwater. I was like, wait, what? Shrek underwater? What?
Oh my gosh. Well, anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in to the Pause Where I Play podcast. Cade, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate it. And catch us everywhere podcasts can be found, and on YouTube, and in your grandma's basement. And we'll catch you next time.